Well, certainly very happy times for South Africa and Cuba. It's a milestone, 30 years of diplomatic relations for these two countries. Geographically, they're very apart, from the Caribbean islands very far to the southern tip of Africa. And of course, they continue to collaborate in so many areas and so many aspects. But someone who's really well versed in terms of this milestone is the Cuban ambassador here in South Africa. Ambassador, thank you so much indeed for your time. So 30 years, that's absolutely remarkable. And I would imagine that there's so much importance that Cuba attaches to this particular relationship. Tell us about the importance of South Africa-Cuba relations.
Thank you very much. When we see the relation between Cuba and South Africa, we have to put it in the context of Africa as a whole. Cuba is considered that our nation was formed by the Africans who were in Cuba from long ago. So our history, our nation was formed by the Africans. So we consider part of Africa. In the case of South Africa, the significance of our relation is marked by the close relation of the two icons of each country, Commander-in-Chief Fidel Castro and the leader Nelson Mandela. That they were very close friends, in the brotherhood that was formed because of the struggle against apartheid.
Ambassador, you talk about Khayelihle, a very important war in southern Africa, in Angola, with the Cubans who came, leading to the liberation of Namibia, but eventually leading to the demise of apartheid in South Africa. I would imagine that you will continue to work together with South Africa because, when we look at your foreign policy, at the international level, Pretoria and Havana, they always find each other.
Yes, you're right. In the case of Cuba and South Africa, we share common issues in the multilateral issues, international issues, especially United Nations and G77 plus China and non-aligned movements. We have a concise point of view in many aspects of it. And also in the case of our relation, it's very important that it's not only that our presence at the time of the war in Angola that contribute, of course, to the independence of Namibia, Angola, and the lifting of apartheid. Is that we continue this contribution nowadays, not only in the assistance, also in the training of young people, in many other aspects that we can contribute.
Especially, Ambassador, you think about so many doctors from South Africa who have gone to Cuba to receive the training. It goes back to the very fraternal, the cordial ties between the two nations in terms of empowering each other. How's the program going? The doctors being trained in Cuba.
Yes. We started this kind of cooperations for the training of students there in Cuba since 1996 in the so-called program Fidel Castro and Mandela program. We continue this today. For these 30 years, almost more than 3,000 South African students, they were trained in Cuba, not only in medicine, in other specialties, engineer, for working in many other aspects, communication and many other things. And the programs continue even today, and we are ready to continue for the future because it's a kind of program that serves the South African people directly.
Ambassador, while we have you, the story that is incredibly dominant, you look at every media house, every capital, every country, at least those who are sympathizing with the oppressed people, what's happening in Gaza. We know that Cuba also has been vocal in terms of making sure that Palestine eventually is free from the oppression that they're experiencing and the war that we've seen. Obviously, seeing casualties in Israel, but also in Cuba, also in Palestine.
Yes, Cuba, as you know, by principle, the Cuban Revolution is based on the solidarity and internationalism for the just causes in the world. Palestine, Sahrawi Republic, Democratic Republic of Sahrawi. The Palestine cause we made it with the Cubans our cause also. In Cuba, every day is a normal issue to try to spread our solidarity with the Palestinians. What it was last Friday, more than 1,000 young Cubans, they gathered at the university in Havana to express their solidarity with the Palestinian people.